screens right now. Oh, let me go. There we go. There it is. Welcome to Thinkof Artist. How you doing? Welcome. How's it going?
Good, man. Going great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I woke up from a nap not too long ago, and then I watched AEW Rampage.
Oh yeah. Man,
You know,
CM Punk.
yeah, that was it was like, even though we knew it was coming, it's still great seeing him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still great seeing him, especially with the music and also like the graphic that he had. I guess he has all the rights to all that, so it's good.
Yeah. I had to watch it on Twitter, and like people's reactions, but man, even though it was like a 99.9% sure thing, exciting time. Very exciting time to be in wrestling, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of good stuff coming out. I did not watch SmackDown because I was like, I could only watch one show before I did the interview, right? Because I have a time schedule. And I was like, I just watched a Rampage because about CM Punk, so I was like, I'll just go with them.
Yeah. I mean, I think probably a lot of people probably did that tonight.
I mean, yeah, I mean, everybody thought also with Daniel Bryan and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, AEW is just killing it right now. I mean,
Got my exploding barbed wire tank on, although
damn.
that didn't go over as well, but
Yeah, I just have this one right here, and also the only merch I have is Eddie Guerrero. Like, I have this one and the other shirts on the side. That's the only merch I have.
You had that Poppy one, right?
Yeah, I am your Poppy, and I have two of those, the sweater and the shirt, and I have this one. And I give the other shirt, the one with, like, it's like the Scarface one. I give that to my brother.
Sweet.
It's
a good one. Huh? It's a good one to have.
Yeah. I mean, I would have loved to get like Kane and other wrestlers, but at the time I wasn't really like buying that much merch or anything like that. There's no money, but now I do. But yeah, so we're gonna get started. Since you're a wrestling fan, I'm gonna start with this real quick. Heel or face?
Heel, man.
Heel. Why?
The heels make the face.
Oh, okay. That's a good answer. All right.
People aren't going to cheer for anyone if they don't dislike the heel enough, you know? I mean, that's the heel's job. So,
yeah.
Big time.
All right. What you think about Roman Reigns? He's like kind of like the biggest heel right now, kind of.
It's, I don't follow WWE too closely anymore.
Okay. It's more indie.
I will say, though, yeah, like, from when when they were pushing him years ago and people were absolutely against it, it feels like he's ready for it now. People are ready for it now with the rest of the Shield disbanded, and put him with Paul Heyman. I mean, put anyone with Paul Heyman, and like I'm all in. So and people are chomping at the bit for hopeful Roman Reigns, Rock feud, which would be incredible. So if that moment comes, I mean, they're gonna have to do something like that to compete with CM Punk. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is like wrestling history, as people calling it. So all right, you're a fan of wrestling. I'm a fan of wrestling. Yep. So I just want to get your opinion about it. But let's get started to like the beginning. So pretty much, let's get started with this first. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, hit the like, subscribe, please. Come on, do it. Come on. And then, so let us know. Tell us your name, what you do, and who you are.
Cool. Yeah, my name is Taylor Armstrong. I've been working in animation and visual effects for over 15 years. I've been drawing since I was, a toddler, and right now my job is I'm the head of VFX and finishing. It's called primarily in advertising for a post-production editorial house. So it basically means like everything after it's shot and edited, I'm in charge of for commercials from like Budweiser, Planet Fitness, Capital One, you name it. Basically, Walgreens, all sorts of stuff, and everything that's like implementing the final colored footage and any graphics or visual effects or cleanup work. That all goes through me, and then I make sure it all gets packaged to the proper specs for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat,
Wow.
broadcast, Spanish, in Canada, here in the U.S., and then there's like subtitled versions. So, one ad campaign could have like a 90-second edit, a 60-second edit, 30-second edit, 15-second edit, and like 10-second ads for social, and just keeping track of all of that. But I've been doing that for about a year. But before that, I was primarily a visual effects artist, or also just an animation artist. So
Nice. I mean,
yeah.
it is a big resume. I mean, I looked through it and I kind of like see what you work on and like the background stuff. Now with the commercial stuff, that's like, so what, like in your opinion, what you enjoy more, commercials or the movies and TV stuff?
Honestly, I love it all.
Okay.
It's been really nice that I've kind of every few years or so I'll kind of switch, and it just keeps it fresh, even if I'm still doing um, because there's pros and cons. So, like, when I'm
Right.
working
Right.
on a TV show and you're doing special effects for like superheroes and explosions and gunshots, like that's really cool. But then you do it for a year straight, and you're like, I don't know, it starts, anything can start to get repetitive. So then, you know, a TV show you're working on a whole season, which can drag on versus a feature. You
Mm,
can be all the way in, but just for like 2 or 3 months, and the feature's out the door. Versus in advertising, you really only get like a week or so on a project, so it's a lot faster turnaround. Um, I mean, it stays fresh because the projects are flowing, but then you also don't have the benefit of being able to like, dedicate. Okay, like we're going to spend 3 months on this project,
mm.
and develop the look and really get to know the characters. It's more of just like getting stuff out the door. So um, even if you're doing like the same exact task, they're all totally different worlds, and I've really enjoyed all of it for real.
Not nice, nice. Do you have like a favorite world that you worked on? Like a favorite world, like
Um,
it kind of like stuck
hmm,
with you?
I guess let's see. Honestly, I mean, the first one I like lost my mind for, I guess.
Mm.
Um, and at the time, I was working in stereo conversion, so like taking films that were shot in 2D and then turning them into 3D for theaters and home. But when I worked on the first Avengers movie, it was like, I mean, okay, every day I went home like
Lucky
just
mother.
huge, just like fanboying hard, like watching, especially like working on the movie
Hmm.
in stereo. You're at the very end of the pipeline because it's like, it's all been shot, it's all been edited, but the visual effects is still being done,
Right.
and you're doing the 3D conversion to come out at the same time in the movie theater. But it takes just you have to kind of working on it at the same time, but you also the last step. So I got to watch, the actual visual effects for like, the Hulk or Iron Man, kind of
Yeah.
start from like really rough, crude models to like all the way to the final render, and like just watching, the movie made from like inside the machine was like incredible.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But now it's like honestly, like anytime you pull off like an effect, and it looks seamless, it's like, whether it's like a beauty spot for like, skin touch-ups for like for an actor, or if it's making explosions, like whenever you're able to do it and it looks, pretty damn good, it's still a great feeling for me no matter what it is. It's like magic, it's still got the magic. I love it.
Y- Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's gotta be incredible feeling because that film was historic. I mean, it started the whole crossover stuff and it just boomed everything pretty much. Like just
Yeah.
put everything in the limelight, and you worked on it too. So that's gotta be a really great feeling.
Yeah.
Um.
I mean, there's like thousands of people that work on those movies, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it was still, bucket list for sure.
I mean, how many people could say that? Really, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I worked on Avengers. You know,
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, like there's a lot of people like people just see the actors stuff like that, but there's a lot of work to put into making a movie. You know, the background stuff, the facts, the editing, all that. So that's what it's kind of like they're like the backbone of like every single movie. You know, so it's like it's not as easy as people just they do the like do the recording and then just put it all together and then done. It's like no, there's more into it.
Hmm.
There's more into the steps, so it's actually really cool. Um, so so with special effects, right? You started with special effects for a while now, but what you do before that? When you say you started when you were drawing when you were young, what kind
Yeah.
of stuff were you drawing like before you got into the industry
Like when I was a kid,
or like teenagers stuff like
everything,
that?
man. Yeah, I mean, like when I was like a little kid, I would like just lose the day in drawing, and I would like draw my own transformers and cut them out of paper and figure out a way to fold them together.
Nice.
I would draw like whole scenes, to kind of figure like a narrative of like almost like a one panel comic. I
Mm,
started a bunch of like comics that I never finished, of course. I was big into drawing X-Men. I loved drawing Wolverine,
nice.
and but then as I got older, um, I mean, I got into anime eventually. When I was a teenager,
Right.
and so then my style started like trying to copy that, which I never really got too much of the hang of. Um, I mean, anything, man. I was like always doodling in class, always drawing something, and then went to college for art, and that's when
Mm.
it started to, take it more seriously. But it was like always like I was like never gonna not draw or do art, it was like always on my radar.
Actually, that's very interesting that you brought up college. I have a bunch of artists who have gone to college. I have good and bad
Mhm.
experiences. So, how was your experience in college for art?
It was great.
It was
I loved
great.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you go. All right, we got one. We got
put
one.
one on put one on the positive list.
Positive. Like, what was your favorite thing about college and art? Like, when you went?
Just being able to like have the space. I mean, you have like a few humanities classes for like other stuff you have to fill, but I was basically living and breathing art at that point.
Mm,
I went to the School of Visual Arts in New York, and at least there it was just like everything I did. I had like 3 hour figure drawing classes 3 times a week.
wow.
Um, I went to school for hand drawn animation, so like every Friday I had a 6 hour class that was just sitting in a room with like 20 peers, all at like old school light discs and animating with pencil and paper. I mean, you know, doing that and then painting, it was just, you know, the best. Especially surrounded by people also that were just jacked up on art. It was, I had a few close friends, growing up that of course were into art. But then when you're surrounded by like an entire building and everybody just loves it, it's like I feed off that energy.
Okay, okay. So, what made you go from doing like traditional art, drawing characters stuff like that to special effects?
It was a really organic process just over the past like decade and a half
Mm-hmm.
because I started thinking I was going to just do 2D cartoon animation and I was going to
Mm-hmm.
make a cartoon show and I was just going to growing up on Nickelodeon and Adult Swim and Cartoon Network and I don't know, you're just like that's what I'm going to do. And then once you're like in the industry, there's really not that many opportunities. Especially, I mean, this was I guess 15 years ago. Um, that many opportunities to do the physical animating here in the States because so much of it's outsourced. So like they'll write and storyboard the show here, but then they'll outsource it to a company that's like cheaper in another country. So there weren't that
Mm.
many actual entry level straight up animation jobs. There are some like cleanup work or in betweeners or you can just get junior artist type stuff. But um, I found my way like through internships and just kind of saying yes to any related job. I ended up doing some really light digital compositing for a New York animator, which was basically at the time just like they drew everything on paper. I would be in charge of like scanning it and then putting them in sequence in After Effects so you could like watch it play out, and then adjusting the timing of each drawing. So like one drawing would be on 2 frames, one drawing would be on 4 frames. You play it together at 6 frames and figure out the timing. and then that just kind of, snowballed into eventually, like, you just keep networking, keep meeting people, and then someone's like, oh, I need someone to do like some digital coloring. So now I'm coloring in Photoshop, compositing in After Effects, and just kind of learning slowly on the job. And then flash forward like 6 years, and there was just an opening to do digital compositing, but for that stereo conversion I was talking about. But it was something I'd never done before at that level, but it was similar type thing in After Effects. So I applied for it, took like a training test, got in, and the next thing you know, I'm like working on Transformers and Smurfs. And it's just like, once you kind of know the software or the basics, it's just like taking that leap. And then that led to then straight up, I spent a few years in stereo, but then I was doing proper like 2D compositing of like putting visual effects over live action footage, and then you're doing like green screen keying, and then the next thing you know, you're doing like I don't know, like paint work and tracking, and it just has been this kind of just following the yellow brick road, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's like it's going like in different directions or different things, and it kind of just go with the flow kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was how did like you get you like pick on the projects, like they just like, oh, we're doing this movie kind of thing or this TV show thing.
Yeah, for the particular projects, like at like that level of like major movies and TV shows, it's just through. I would get like maybe like a 6-month contract or a 2-month contract or a 1-month contract at a VFX company, and then they won't even tell you what you're working on before you get there, because there's all sorts of security and NDA documents and stuff. And then you get there, and then everything's also under a code name, because they're like, they're not going to say we're working on Avengers, because then people are like hacking the emails and the phone calls. So it's like, I forget what we called it, but it was something else. And then you sit down and they'll say, oh, we're working on ham sandwich, and then you're like, okay, ham sandwich, and you sit down and you open it up and it's like Tony Stark, and you're like, oh, okay, I know what this is.
Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Kind of finding out like ham sandwich,
right?
Tony Stark, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's kind of cool. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. And then you're also like, you only usually even see the shots that they give you.
Oh, okay.
And they're all without sound and they're out of sequence. So like, even if you like wanted to, they don't want people like leaking the movie or stealing it or anything. So it's like I know that you worked on that shot with the blue car, so if that ends up on the internet, like it's your fault, you know what I mean? So
right.
it's everything's like very focused on security.
Well, with the new age of the internet, if you could share, if it happened, has there ever happened like that you know of a leak? If you could share that.
Nowhere I've worked at, no.
Okay, that's actually surprising.
I feel like it used to happen more like years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if the security has just gotten better over time, or honestly, I feel like there's so much content now that like people wouldn't even really care. You know what I mean? Like if there was like a leak of like I don't know, the next Avengers movie, it's like people might want to watch it, but they'd also probably just rather wait to see the finished version, or like there's so much other stuff that they're watching on Netflix, or like it's like, even if I wanted to, I wouldn't even be able to get around to watching it. Versus like, a decade ago, like it's like The Matrix like leaked on like Morpheus or Kazaa or like some like torrent website, people would be like, oh my god, the new Matrix is out. But now I just feel like people don't care for some reason. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's because like they put everything all out there now. Do conferences like, here's what we're doing, this is what we're working on, and this is how it is now. And then with the internet now, with Twitter, Instagram, all that, it's like, oh, I'm seeing Keanu Reeves working on Matrix 4. Here's a shot of him working on it, whatever. Like there's Clerks 4 working on right now. There's photos out there right now. So it's like, right. So it's like the surprise factor is very rare now, I think, right? Like compared to how it was a couple years ago. Because I remember when it was like leaks, they were like, when a movie's about to come out, or when about like people are excited because like you don't get anything at that time because it wasn't really like as easy access. You know, like what was the one I remember was like the Flash TV show. It was like the first
Mm-hmm.
episode leaked or something like that, and then it was like the Deadpool, but it was like I'm pretty sure it was like leaked on purpose, but it was a leak. Um, so I mean that's kind of crazy. Like so it never happened. So I mean, hey, I would have loved to hear a story, but it's good it didn't
Yeah.
happen. You know, it's good it
Yeah.
didn't happen.
I mean, if you want a funny story, something similar. I mean, it's not a leak, but it's kind of the opposite.
Oh,
Uh, when I was on Smurfs, converting it, from 2D to 3D, the way the company server was set up was like, there's like one server that we could all access, um, but to work on
oh,
your shot, you had to manually copy and paste it from the network to your computer.
uh huh.
Um, and so I went to like work on a shot, and I deleted it.
Oh,
I deleted the shot
oh,
off the company server, and man, when I realized, because like, I don't know, you're going so fast, like you're in the
right,
zone, I don't
right.
know, shortcuts, or I had dragged it in the wrong direction, and like my stomach sank, nausea, like knowing I
Oh
had to
my
like
god.
get up and go talk to like my supervisor and be like, I just deleted my shot from the movie, um, and luckily the IT people, had like an automated storage, like every like 3 hours that was like, copying like a mirror of all the files.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so it was saved, but holy cow, I've never been more terrified in a moment at a job. Like I never did that ever again. Of course, learned from that, but that was a good one.
I mean, I could just imagine. Like, I didn't even think about that. Deleting footage.
Yeah,
Like,
it's way too easy. It's way too easy.
it's way too easy, and it will cost a lot of money,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because like the shot is gone, right? Even like it's crazy. I didn't even think about that. But luckily, there's backups, right? That's why they have like the backups and all
yep,
that, because everybody's human at the end of the day.
right.
They don't want that to happen, but mistakes happen, like you said. It happened to you once. It happened to somebody. I just wonder, like somebody like who's working on like the editing department accidentally deleted a whole for like 5 minutes or something by accident or something.
I'm sure it's happened. I mean, they probably don't work anymore, but I'm sure it happened.
So, I mean, yeah, that's I guess that's a little crazy story. Um, so you went from doing 2D art, traditional art, and then you went from special effects, working in the industry, and now you're working on commercials right now. So through all that, what got you to now with your new project, the 8-bit slammers with the NFTs, with the wrestling and all that?
Um, a buddy of mine that I met from like back in the day when I was doing hand-drawn animation back in New York, probably met him like 15, 16 years ago. We were both interns for the same guy. We stayed in touch, and for the past, maybe a year and a half ago, he reached out to me and was like, "Hey man, you should look into this NFT thing. It's like really cool. I'm doing it, and you should check it out." And I was like, all right. And I took a quick look into it, but like, I couldn't wrap my brain around it. I was just like, I don't know. I think like a lot of like people when they first hear about it, I just couldn't. I was wrapped up about like I was like, so wait, if they buy the file, like, do I have to upload like my source file somewhere? Like, do they get my Photoshop document, or like, how does this work? Um, and he just kept encouraging me for the past like year and a half. This guy, his name's Brian Brinkman. Anytime I get a chance to thank him, I'm going to thank him publicly. He doesn't need my public thanks. He's like killing it right now. He quit his amazing day job, and he's just doing NFTs full time. But without him and his push, I wouldn't have taken the jump. Um,
Brian Brinkman.
Brinkman, yeah, um, and like he's a great artist. So he turned me onto it, and like every few months he would just be like, "Hey, you should look into NFTs," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." And then once I was more open to it, I wasn't even sure like what I do, because I've spent so much time like in the industry side for so long that I don't really get a chance to make any of like my own art anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I've got like big gaps in freelance work, I'll start a project, or I'll start to do my own stuff. But I was just like, man, what would I even make? Like, what would people be interested in? Like, I don't know. And then I started to the past year and a half or two. I've also been like really slowly working on a pro wrestling video game, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, and it's like a JRPG narrative driven RPG set in wrestling,
What?
and
That's actually cool. I don't mean to cut you off. That's actually very interesting.
yeah,
I've
man,
never seen like idea of wrestling like that because like there was always the WWE games and now there's the AEW coming out and all that kind of stuff. But it's always like the same kind of thing, right? You get wrestlers,
yeah,
you wrestle. That's pretty much it. But
yeah,
a RPG?
yeah, man. I mean, like to me, like wrestling is about storytelling, and also
That's true.
so much of it happens in the ring, but so much of it's like to do it in like a kayfabe way where you're the wrestler and the choices you make and the relationships you make. But also, I've been really close to indie wrestling for a while, which we might talk
Mm-hmm.
about. But I wanted to focus on like the life of the wrestler. So it's about going
Mm.
from town to town, getting over, climbing the ranks in one town, and then you still have to make your date in the other town, right? So like juggling time, juggling resources, juggling your health, um, branching. Like to me, it just wrote itself. It's like, why hasn't anyone done this? Um,
Yeah.
so I've got like the whole first hour and a half of gameplay already done, but it's all
Wow.
using like alpha graphics and like stock stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think I had a big break from work like a year and a half ago, and I just like threw myself totally into it, and I started working on the artwork for it, and like learning pixel art because it's like such a different medium.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing animation tests for that when COVID hit, and I had a lot more time, and I was posting the animation tests, um, and this guy Kevin Kleinrock who uh, works with Master Republic, or he runs Master Republic, which is the wrestling licensing company that I'm working with for this job. We happen to be friends on Facebook, and I was posting the artwork that I was working on, just as like placeholder animations. I sent it to you, like the Hogan one and the Matt Jackson like super kick one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but like I knew obviously for my game I can't use like real wrestlers. I was just kind of doing to like
Right.
learn and practice animating and sprite style. And he was like, but at the same time I was also posting a bunch of like I don't know much. At the time I wasn't in NFTs, but I was like, this is the future. I love it. This is going to be amazing for a digital artist. And then he posted on one of my wrestling posts. He's like, you should do these as NFTs. And I was like, shit, you're right. Like, how can I do that? What would make sense? And my brain started like churning. And then I've just spent the last like kind of 6-7 months like stewing on it and breaking it all down how I would do it and like what would make sense and what would bring value to the community and what would make sense for wrestling fans and really wanting to develop something that I like really believe in and isn't just like a quick get in and out cash grab type thing. So I've just been researching NFTs, researching the blockchain, practicing pixel art, reaching out, growing I've got a network of friends in the wrestling business, so just touching base with all of them and seeing who's interested and just kind of letting it grow. And I think it's finally time to launch it next month, so I'm really excited. I
Yeah,
know
I
that
mean,
was a long answer, but
no, no,
um,
no. This is like it gets me time to think more questions. No, I got my questions ready. So pretty much, that is a very. I mean, now that I have a different question now because like I'm very curious about the RPG. Is that gonna be somewhat connected with the NFT figures that you create, or is this completely separate?
completely separate
Okay.
for now. I think if kind of like what would be amazing is if the NFT project takes off and I don't know if I mean because I love my job, I love my career. I'm not
Right.
doing this, I'm doing this because like I'm excited about the project. But if somehow it like blew up and people really embraced it, then I would consider maybe like tying the universes together. But right now it's like a standalone game using real wrestlers, but not the ones I'm doing for the NFTs. Um,
Okay.
but I mean the game I'm doing it myself, and it's if I can dedicate my time to it, it's probably still like another year and a half or 2 years away.
Right.
So I'm excited about the NFTs because it's something I can kind of bring out into the world a lot sooner. Whereas like the game, I've been like, you just like spend years alone before you show it to anyone. So
Right. So are you gonna like contact like people or like in the creative or content creator space, like who are fans of wrestling, to like maybe try out the game or something like that, in the
absolutely,
future?
absolutely, yeah. Actually, I already had a small, like really small, like closed alpha test of it,
Uh-huh.
just to make sure nothing broke in the core like game loop, um, and the response is really well to the writing. People loved the writing and the story. The fighting system needs a little bit of work. So I think once I get that addressed, I'll probably do like another round and see what people think about it. Um, it's tricky. It's like you have to put so much time into it and then
Hmm.
share it and then see if it even works at all,
Right.
and
Right.
like scrap it. Because to me, it's like obviously the fighting is like a huge part of wrestling, but at the same point, like it's kind of a small part of my game, but it's still obviously very important because it has to be a wrestling match. So um, finding that balance and um, exploring up. Plus, there's like the technical side. Like my background's in hand-drawn art, so like the whole coding part's very new to me.
Right. That's like I mean it's kind of cool to how like do you just pick up on things fast? Like pretty fast where you like get the basic understandings of it where you're like, okay, I could go with it. I could do this. I could like just or you just have that that much of a willpower. It's like, oh, it's hard, but let's just keep going. I'll figure it out.
Kind of combination. Like
Okay.
for me, I learn best by doing, and then with the coding, it's like very minimal so far. I'm using a game engine, but then I'm like learning a little bit of JavaScript, and it's like, I go on like the forums and message boards, whatever, and people that are also making their first game, and they've got these like huge scopes, and they're like doing all this crazy plug-in stuff, and I'm really just trying to take it like as far as I can with what I know until I hit a wall, and then I'll learn like that one thing and then move forward instead of trying to like, how do I learn everything right now? Because then
Right.
it
Right.
almost, for me at least, I get like paralyzed by too much information, and then I'm like, next thing you know, it's like a week later, you're like down a wormhole of YouTube. You haven't done anything on the game, and you're like, well, for me, I like to just, even if I end up having to throw it all away, I'd rather like, get my hands dirty and get in there.
Yeah. Man, I guess so, like I could relate to that honestly. So it's sort of like a puzzle. Like, all right, I gotta figure this out. Once I figure that out, go to the next thing, and then start connecting it and start going from there. I mean, I just can't remember how an RPG of wrestling sounds really
Yeah, man.
dope. A really, you know what? It's actually kind of a good time right now too, because there's a wrestlers who are also streaming on Twitch and on YouTube and stuff like that more than ever. Like especially indie wrestlers. So I'm pretty sure if you tell them, hey, I got an RPG about wrestling, are you interested? I'm pretty sure they'll be like, yeah, like I'm down. Like there's also like a streamer that I watch was named Grand Pooh Bear. He's a big wrestling fan, and I'm pretty sure he will love to get into it because RPG,
Yeah, man.
RPG.
My only
Uh,
my only kind of concern is, you know, no one's done it yet,
yeah, yeah.
and I just don't know if anyone's going to beat me to it. But I know at least even if someone's listens to this and they go back to AEW and they're like, we're going to do this game and right, they're going to steal it. I know like my story, like I've got like a whole branching narrative, and like I don't know, like I love the world I've built, so I know nobody will have exactly what I have. So it's
Right.
definitely something I want to finish. Um, it's just hard to know whether because I'm also doing the art and making it, so it's just like, should I do a Kickstarter and then just do it full time? Should I don't
Yeah.
know. The
Yeah.
things I'm sure it's the things that keep all of us up at night with all of our projects.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at one point you guys got decided like, is this a full project I want to take on? Do the whole Kickstarter. 'Cause I personally think will be very interesting, and I mean, it sounds yeah, like you said, nobody has done that. So that's like a one like a game that could be like could revolutionize kind of gaming for wrestlers or something like that, or things that they never even thought of as an RPG before. Because even I didn't think about it, even though a big part of wrestling is the storytelling.
Well, I'm glad to hear your sight on it, man. Because I think so. I feel like there's lots of us out there that'll be like, oh my god, yeah, oh yeah, I want to play that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, even I'm like, I don't really play that much RPG. I'm like, but I'm down to play this. You know what I mean? Like it's wrestling and RPGs. Like, why not? It's a game like that, different from what we usually see. Why not? I'm totally down for that. So with the game, it's gonna be separate from the NFTs, and so what? So have you heard about the negatives about NFTs?
Hell yeah, of course I
Okay,
have.
all right. Do you
Man,
want to talk about it?
I'll talk about anything, but
All right, all right. I just want to like.
I was trying to, it's like tricky because it's like I'll talk to anyone about it that wants to listen, but it's also, people that already have their mind made up, and they're not gonna like listen to you. So like, I tried to. I don't know for my project. I'm really excited. Like I'm working with really great wrestlers. It's like super legit. I know my stuff, and I was just trying to share the word on Reddit, and like they just blasted me, man. They're like they think I'm just like a snake oil salesman, and they're just like, get the F out of here with your NFTs. I don't know. So I'm I know that there's people out there that are into it, especially into wrestling, because there's other wrestling related projects out there that are doing really good. But yeah, I don't know. Do you want to raise the points? Do you want me to just to rant about it?
Go for it. I mean, this is like a platform where you can talk about your projects, what you're working on, and your opinions about certain like topics about like this right here.
Yeah. So I mean, the two main points. I think there's like two. It's like two and a half. There are 2.5 points. The first point is it's bad for the environment. So luckily, one, like in general, that's being worked on, but two, blockchain, which is like the network that these tokens are built on and processed on. There's multiple. There's like tons out there, and the one that I'm using is called Wax, WAX, and they are also currently the home for Garbage Pail Kids, for Tops MLB, for Street Fighter. They're very collectible centric, and a big part of their ethos is being very proactive in the environmental space, and they've actually been carbon neutral since 2019. So if you go to their website, or if you go to my website for 8bitslammers.com, at the bottom I have a but what about the environment section that you can click on. It'll bring you to everything green about it and all the good that they're doing to offset it. And so for maybe other blockchains, other projects, it's a valid concern. But I feel good about the platform I'm using, and it's something I'm mindful of. I live in California. I love bees. I love plants. I love nature. It's important to me, so I've chosen the right platform for me in that regard. And then, so it's either the environment issue or it's that there's no value, there's no inherent value in NFTs. And then the half point is I could just copy and paste it and then I own it, and what's the point? So to that point, I say that there's no inherent value in anything. Society, culturally, what is the value of $1,000 gift card to KFC if you're a vegan? Right? Nothing. It doesn't mean anything because you're not going to use it. What is the value of like money if you live on like I know this is a stretch, but bear with me. If you live like on if you live off the grid, you can you've got natural running water from the streams. You've got fresh produce, even whatever. I know there's a reach, but like there are people in the world that you could offer them money, and it won't you're not going to be able to invite them to come live in a smoggy city when they have no space, because they just don't value it. They value openness, freedom, clean air, clean water. So whatever your collectibles, like whatever, some people go out and buy like a $1,500 replica WWE belt, right? And to them that means everything, but to somebody who doesn't care at all about wrestling, it's like that's stupid. And
Yeah, I got that when I got mine. Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
So value is something that people apply their own. People decided for themselves. So just because you don't value something doesn't mean that it's valueless, objectively. So, and then the side point is that the whole being able to just screenshot it, copy and paste it. I think that that's also, there's probably people that felt that way when music first became digital, right? Like, why am I going to pay for an MP3? Why would I buy a cassette when I can rip it off the radio? Why would I buy a movie when I can just rip it with a VHS on Showtime, right? There are always going to be people, just because it's part of human nature, of certain types of people that will exploit any system. And but that's not the type of person I am. I pay for the Adobe Creative Cloud. I have friends that just steal software and they're fine with it and they can justify it. If there's a band I like to buy the album, even if it's on iTunes, right? It's just an MP3 file that's DCAA protected or whatever, and I can't rip it, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. I will buy a digital file. What is that digital file worth? I don't know. I just paid $12.99 for it. I just bought the whole Harry Potter collection on iTunes, but it lives in my Apple TV. It's not even a good TV. So, whereas some people really value physical things, and then some people value, any physical thing, even if it's a rip that you bought on the street in Times Square. So I don't know. I'm just not the type of person that would want to, if I like the art, if I support the artist, whether they're my friend, a local band, or an NFT project, for me, it's important to show my support with by backing it. Similarly, all the Kickstarters that I've backed over the years.
Right.
90% of them never finish the project. They never send me the stuff that they were supposed to send me. But I at that moment, I believed in the project. I believed in trying to, support someone's video game or comic book or movie. And so to me, I think it's the same thing. But then the bonus for NFTs is there is a community of people that value not just the art, but the token that is assigned to the art. And you're able to sell it, trade it, transfer it, stake it. You can stake it in certain online video games and earn other cryptocurrency. Gary V, who I'm sure, I don't know, people know, he always equates it to Fortnite skins or, Farmville or Candy Crush. How much is a level 90 armor in World of Warcraft worth? Well, it's not a real thing, but people, so all of those, it's to me, it's just I don't know, there's a lot of hate. I think people are afraid of being taken advantage of. People are afraid of
it's new.
Not understanding it, right? And so, I don't know, man. Every time I learn more and more about it, I'm just more jacked up. I've never learned more about it and then been oh, actually that does suck. It's just it's new. Everyone's still figuring it out. And there's a lot of function that can come from the token. So even some of the NFT communities I'm in, if you have the token in your wallet, which is hosted in your web browser, it'll unlock things even just in the Discord channel that you can only get. There's a wrestling one I'm in that if you have two of the wrestlers, then you get a certain tag team status that are different channels or different groups, and that's all just linked because it's all digital and it all just plays off each other, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, So I'm all for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually good. Like you're finding like alternatives for it. You know, like fighting the whole kind of like all the bad stuff about it. I guess you could say. But it's always gonna people are gonna find something like very cautious for something that just been like new that's been up and more mainstream. Because NFT has been up since what like 2017 or even earlier than that.
Yeah.
So it's like people are just gonna be like, I don't know about that. Especially like now there's some little crypto drama coming out with some of the creators. I don't know if you heard about them. So people are just a little bit cautious about it, but I think it's kind of cool when like honestly this is like a new way for especially for digital artists to kind of like go in the forefront now, make some money, and do something new and bring it to the public. And then in your way, it's gonna be wrestlers. It's gonna be like official licensed wrestlers, right?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Real quick, I totally, on like my rant, I totally overlooked that. Just like digital artists as a stereotype have been underevaluated, underappreciated. Um, I mean, people have been ripping, like, the idea that someone's going to steal an NFT so it has no value is like digital art in a nutshell, because people have been stealing digital art forever. I mean, you
Yeah.
can see, like logos like on like a painting van outside that was obviously just like clicked off like Google image, and like someone else, like people are with crypto and NFTs. When I sell, if I sell, I'm not even assuming I'm going to sell anything, just because I want to have realistic expectations.
Right.
But
Right.
if I sell one and that person ever sells it again, I'm going to get a royalty of that, which I'm going to split with the wrestler whose likeness I'm using. Versus like, you know, you could even just do like a drawing, you throw it on like TV and art or something, and that gets stolen and thrown on like Etsy, and then someone's like printing T-shirts like with art that they didn't even make, but like nobody cares about that. It's like, so like digital artists are like finally like making like real money, and I think it's a long time coming, and I'm excited to be in it. I mean, luckily I've been able to do, I've had a long career, which is great, but like, I would have done more art myself if there was like money in it, just because it's such a time. You invest so much of yourself and time in it. And it's hard, and like, where do you sell it? And now there's like a perfect.
Right. Because you got in, because you never did freelance work before, right? You never got into the freelance world.
No, I have, man. Yeah, I've been. I
Oh,
mean, I've basically been. Technically, right now, I'm still freelance, even at this
oh,
advertising
okay.
company.
Well, because I was like thinking about like traditional art, and then like you were working with like because you do contracts, right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
but like in between, like all the bigger, flashier names on the IMDb, like in between all those, there's like lots of projects you don't see of, um, hopping on Craigslist, and I'll just scroll. Like, I mean, I don't do it anymore, but I spent a lot of time just picking up like $300 gig here, five
Right,
hundred
right,
dollar gig there.
right,
You know,
right.
Buddy needs like a logo done for $100. Like I've like, even now, I mean, because I'm still technically freelance, I'm like always looking for work, because you never
Right,
know.
right, right.
I mean, especially with COVID, like I was working on a bunch of major TV shows, but then the whole industry shut down, and
Yeah.
then I didn't have a job. So then you're like, well, who needs animation? Then you start hustling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Because like when one thing stops, you still gotta hustle. You gotta figure out what the next step is, and where else you can make new income with it, and like what's the new projects with it, what you do, to spend your time,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess MT makes sense because like got a product you like wrestling, and you get into animation with the pixel art. That's something new that you're learning or you've been learning,
Yeah.
and it's also official license, so it's not like just completely random. Um, so now like you have this, and you also have your like your other jobs and all that. So I think like is that the one reason why you decided to do it because it's gonna get things a lot more easier, just in case if something one falls, like you never know what happens. So you
Um,
have a backup, or it's just because it's completely for fun that you just want to do and just get into.
Honestly, I just never stop. I just can't stop. Um, and my wife will tell you that. I just, whether I'm working and making great money, or I'm not working and just have free time. Uh, I'm always like I've got, 20 kids books I got to make. I've got two fully written. I need illustrations. I've got albums to record. I've got
Yeah.
screenplays that are half finished. Like I just always there's always something else, and like I just have to make it, whether I get paid for it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why even like if the NFT thing is a bust, I'm gonna keep trying. Like I've got a lot that I want to try in that space. Um, but like I'm willing to, and I'm not taking since I'm doing all the art myself. Um, and all of like the payments are going to be kind of royalty based, which is really gracious of the wrestlers to work with me like that. Um, there's like maybe like $100 or $200 overhead total that I have to like pay in crypto just to like host and like to mint all of the art, and then I had to buy the website and all that stuff.
Right,
But
right.
other than that, it's like I'm just going to make it, and whatever happens, happens. And like I started my own animation festival a few years ago.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I, I've done short films. It's like I keep making stuff. So
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
some whether everything goes well or everything tanks, I'm gonna just keep making more stuff because that's what I have to do.
I mean that's actually like a really good thing because when you're passionate about something, it makes things easier. You know what I mean? Like the stressfulness or the workload or things like that. It makes things easier, especially if you're just passionate about it. You just work a bunch of hours, maybe not even realize a lot of hours has passed because you just love working on it, stuff like that. So I mean that's really cool, especially like since like you did work on an industry, but you're still doing like freelance work. You're doing animations. You're doing all this kind of stuff, all this different kind of projects. So that's what's cool about art. You don't have to stick with one thing. You can do multiple things, right? Like
Yeah,
the
man.
world. So the world needs art, and you're like trying to get it to as many people as you can with different kind of avenues, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that is so with NFTs, it's gonna be like the new main project, and so right now what you're doing right now is like commercials, NFTs, and the video game. Those are
Yeah.
like the three things that you're gonna be like you're focused on right now. Um, in the same time around this or like next year, what is the one thing like you want to accomplish? Like, what is the next of the three you want to accomplish?
Um, I guess like a year from now,
Mm-hmm.
um, I I'm really hoping to just have because the NFT drops are like in two parts. So like the first
Right.
part, I'm dropping like just the wrestlers as their own unique one of one art pieces, and then the ones that are the most popular, I'm going to do a whole animated matchup between them, um,
Okay. Okay.
and then that match is going to get split up into like 13 or 15 different parts, and then you're going to buy like a pack, and it's going to have 5 random parts in it, with the goal being to collect every part and be able to put the whole match together. But because I'm like so into like narrative and being able to make your own things, the matches themselves are going to have branching paths. So, um, you know, you might collect a bunch of pieces, and I might collect a bunch of pieces, and I can put together the match a different way than you're going to.
Right. Right.
And um, so my hope is like a year from now to have probably 3 or 4 matches total released, and hopefully just have, even if it's a small, just like a community of people that are into the project. And um, I think by then I definitely want to have like a fully like a really inclusive roster. This first one is all Lucha Libre stars, but there's tons of incredible wrestling talent out there that I want to feature. So I think a year from now, having kind of like a full roster built out and a few matches out will be cool. And then um, hopefully still just have my same job because I love it.
Right. Right.
And then hopefully at least one of my books I want illustrated because I write kids
Nice.
books, with my wife, and it's just about sitting down and now doing the illustration. But we've got some really good ideas. So
That's actually damn. That's a lot of projects. Like to officially come out and all that. It's really good. And actually, you know what's kind of cool about the NFTs that you're working on too, because you're working with masked wrestlers, right, for the most part,
Mhm.
or and those give out more character. Like, no offense, to people that don't wear masks, but they give more character
Absolutely.
to to the wrestling world. That's what like they kind of like pop off from the indie wrestlers to like the mainstream wrestlers. The people that have like masks, like they're more memorable and they're more marketable. If that makes sense. Like, look at Rey Mysterio. He's been marketable since like because he does like so many different kind of masks. Basically with his design, but different colors, different like outfits, stuff like that. It's so easy to just one design but multiple colors just bring it out. It's so easy to market him, right? Like in order like, to make products, or even if you create an NFT, he has
Hmm.
so many to go through, and he can just bring them out if he wants to. And like the recent wrestler that you release is like he has way more. Like, he has a character. I guess it's very interesting, right? Because like he had the mask, his like kind of personality coming out of the NFT. Um, and yeah, so it's like I think that was a good choice, honestly, in my opinion, with the masks and the wrestlers, because they're just more unique to them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Black Taurus, who he was one of my first picks. My top picks, and uh, just to your point, even just like especially with the sprite pixel art, it's like such a small resolution. Like that image is like only 24 by 24 pixels. So like
Yeah,
to make to present like a character, like he's got the horns, he's got the nose ring, he's got like the hoof type boots. It was just really fun to animate because also for me it has to be fun. So
right, right.
um, yeah, it's like it's fun to see like what can I push, like where can I add life to this. um, so yeah, totally to your point. Yeah, I'm really pumped. I mean, he's the Latin American champion in AAA. You can watch him in Impact. He's a member of
Yeah,
the Decay stable, so he's really really excited to have him on board.
yeah. So, how do you go about it? Do you just message them like, "Hey, so I'm doing this kind of project, and are you interested?" kind of thing, or
So for this one, for this first series, I'm working with that company Master Public that I mentioned
right,
earlier,
right,
um, and I reached out to Kevin Kleinrock and I said, "All right, here's my idea." I had done some mock-up art at the time, um, actually using Rey Mysterio just to like, kind of show him. I just dove in and made some art. And I was like, "Here's the look I'm going for. Here's where I see the project going. Um, how can we make this work?" And he was open to it. And I mean, I think you know, the fact that I've had the career I've had, there's uh, there's like faith that I can actually execute on what I'm saying, and not just like
right, right, right.
hitting up totally like DMing someone randomly and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna make this thing," and they're like, "Okay, but what have you actually done?" Um, so I think he knew that I was serious about it, and we had a few talks about it and put together an official deal memo. And I told him, I gave Master Public represents like a huge list of incredible talent, and I gave
Right.
him a list of the people I want to work with, and every one of them I'm working with. So it's really great, really great. And I'll be announcing two more folks over the next like 2 weeks. I think people are
Oh,
going to be
oh,
pretty psyched about.
all right. That says okay. So there's gonna be two more in the next 2 weeks. So how many is in the series one?
Series one is just going to be three wrestlers,
Three.
and
Okay.
each wrestler is going to have three different variant attires. So I'm going to be releasing 9 total,
Okay.
and I'm going to release it on 9/9, September 9th. So I'm just kind of leaning into this 9 gimmick. So it's like 9 on 9/9. Makes it easy to remember.
Yeah, right, right. That kind of reminds me of like Vinyl figures, these designer toys. How like
Mhm.
they create one figure and they create versions of that figure. So it's a little bit easier. So it's give it's the uniqueness to them, and it's easier to like just put out and get it to the people.
Yeah, I figured that way in case also like if like say someone is like a huge Black Taurus fan, um, they could grab the 3 versions of him if they wanted to, or um, I don't know, or just one of each person. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I feel good about it. I'm really pumped. If nobody
Yeah,
grabs them and they just sit there forever,
I,
it's been a
I
lot of fun
mean,
making it.
wrestling. There's a big culture around it. I don't think. I think it'll catch on. Like there's like people who love wrestling are already getting into so many different things. They want to get some. Like I remember you retweeted Luchadores NFT, right?
Yeah,
And that's what they do. But they do like a pixel image of the character, um, and they've been like, I believe they've been doing great, right? Like they've been
yeah,
like, they've
they're
been
doing
really
great.
great. So yeah, because when I look at I think it was like on the website it says like 10K
Yeah,
luchadores and all that. So I'm just saying there is a like there are people that in the wrestling culture are into that. You know what I mean? Like they know about it, especially like I think a lot of people like underestimate the indie scene. There's so many like different kind of companies that you could work with and go for instead of just one company where you're kind of restricted. Um, like so yeah, you have like what like you said AAA. Uh, Impact Wrestling, and then maybe even Japan as
hmm
well, and then maybe also AEW. You never know,
yeah,
because they're always open to it. They're always open. Like people in the industry are open to different kind of things, different avenues, instead of just sticking what the, what the mainstream WWE will say. Like, oh no, you can't do that. You got to prove it or whatever, and get in so many different avenues. It's like, oh, well, there's no point.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, it was I think it's a really fun project to get into the indie world of wrestling and then bring it into the NFT world. I think it's very way more interesting, and instead of just like trying to go for already for like the mainstream stuff, because I think there'll be too much restriction with that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be fun. I mean, Series One already, you're gonna try it out. Why not? And um, it's not like you said, it's gonna be variation. So see how it
hmm
goes, and you do have licensing with them and any promotion with the Mass Republic. I mean, honestly, nothing like I think it's gonna be really fun.
Thanks,
Um,
man. Thank you.
yeah, I think it sounds like a really dope project. You never know what you could do with them too in the future.
Right.
Maybe because have you ever seen those uh like physical pixel cube things?
Yeah, man. They actually have some. I don't know if they did one of Penta and Phoenix and
Yeah,
Solar. They do all sorts of stuff. They've got action figures with Super Seven and I mean they do all sorts of really cool stuff if people want to look them up. Master Republic. But
yeah, yeah,
there's like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean the world, well, I'll tell you. I mean, just like straight, simple in a nutshell. Like the things that I've set my mind to and accomplished, um, all started as like dreams at one point. So
Right.
really, like I believe like anything's possible. So I'm um, keeping my keeping my aim to the stars and just seeing where it takes us.
I mean, you have done already a lot in industry. I mean, you have a big resume, so I mean, you've done stuff that a lot of people are never gonna get to work on them. You know what I mean? Like, have that chance to work on those projects, and um, I mean, you keep doing it. I mean, you keep sustaining, so you gotta keep going with it. And it's not like I actually have no doubt that it's gonna blow up. Like, I have no doubt because like consider your resume and what you put out, like you put out already, and you keep like the pieces that keep fitting in. It's like you're not missing a piece.
Thank
Like,
you, man. Thank you.
so you know what I mean? Like this is like you're never missing a piece. So it's like very inspirational, especially like for a an artist like me, where I'm kind of like only like 10 years in, but I'm only like 3 years in and professional. So it's kind of cool here from your story, how you got into it and how you're doing it, and because I'm a freelancer, I grew up with like the internet, like just posting on the internet, and I never really like I worked for some companies, but not like you did, and
Mhm.
I never went to college either because I had a bad experience with it. Like I don't know. If it's because the current generation, the teachers are just like over it or whatever. I have no idea. Um, but like it is cool. It is really cool seeing like there's so many different possibilities that an artist could get into. There's so many opportunities. There's no excuses. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's no excuses when it's like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Oh, it's too hard to just do that. If you look at a lot of the artists, especially like you got one who's working in industry, it's like he's learning still new stuff and keep going with it. So it's like not stopping just because like it's new and it's like kind of hard to understand. No, you just take your time. You don't have to like learn, like you said, overload yourself. Just learn piece by piece.
Yeah, man.
Uh, that's like how I take things down too. It's just learn piece by piece. I went from black and gray to color to digital art. Now I'm going to animation, and I'm like doing all this stuff now. And it's like you got to go with it and not overwhelm yourself. There's always
Yeah,
work out there. Opportunities are out there. Like NFTs, that's a new opportunity for digital artists to get into.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, yeah, all of that, man. I agree. The thing is, like, once I think I don't know, artists. It's tricky because it's like, especially the people that are like, it's just like in you, right? You're like the
mhm.
people that are like born artists that have like always been artists. You It's like you want to do it for yourself, right? Because like there's like that joy you get yourself, but then there's also it's like a split coin because then you're usually part of that is actually like then showing the art, right? Which then people can get like insecure about or kind of can get in their own way, but like I don't know, there's so many reasons to like be scared or not do stuff, but like if you like love making art, whatever it is, like just keep doing it. And if you're doing something that isn't fun and like stressing you out, then just like do a different part. Um, at least when I was in school for animation, some of my peers were kind of they already had like the end goal in sight, and we would do like the first thing you do in animation school is like a bouncing ball, like just drawing a bouncing ball, and then
I've seen that a lot. I've seen that a lot. Like
uh,
when people start the animation.
yeah, because it's like you learn so much. It's like weight, squash and stretch, anticipation. You know, how does a bowling ball fall differently than a rubber ball, fall differently than a tennis ball, right? Um, and it's a very simple exercise that you're going to do forever. And some people, like for real, like the first assignment or two in school, they were making like title cards or like so and so presents, you know, so and so was like bouncing ball, and like
Yeah.
they were more worried about it like being a thing or starting a studio and not, and they were excited about that, which is great, but like they weren't actually excited about just spending like 12 hours drawing the same ball over and over again on paper. And
Mm.
like if you're actually passionate about the actual art, like I think you'll just you'll never stop, but it's when you're more focused on like the accolades or the especially now. I cannot imagine coming up now, starting a career now, when it's like the kids that are like raised on social media, and it's like if you get like 3 likes, you get like one. I mean, you know, for my animation festival, for the Apex Slammers, I was actually going to run a wrestling show. I was going to promote a wrestling show last year before COVID hit.
Right.
I've done a bunch of different things, and you always make that new Twitter account, that new Instagram account, and you got zero
Right.
followers. Right now I've got like 24, but I don't care. Like I'm just gonna, I'm gonna let it grow organically. But if you're like coming up, you're an artist, and then you're equating value to your art based on how many likes and retweets you get. Uh, it can just be like, I can't imagine because it's like,
Oh,
God,
it's
how do you,
frustrating.
I mean, it's bad enough. Like, I'm just like being hooked on your phone as like a regular person, like outside of it, being an artist. It's like, you know, to be able to just focus and just like get lost in the world and draw and paint and, sculpt or play music. If you can just get lost in that, then like, that's like where the magic is. Like, don't worry about even the jobs or the, anything. It's like that's if you have that magic, like you're going to be good. Just follow it. Just follow that, and don't worry about all the other bullshit.
Right, like I do agree with that because if you do it for like I understand everybody has to make their money, right? I understand that part, but if you're really like so you're pretty much like if you really focus on it, you're gonna be miserable. That's like all like especially the likes and the retweets and like the comments, all this stuff. Like I get it. It's good to have, I get that, right? But if that's like the only reason you're doing it, it's gonna be miserable for like it's not gonna be good because
Yep.
that's all you're gonna be thinking about. Especially if when you start a new project, like you're just gonna end up quitting. You're gonna end up overthinking it. Like you feel like you're not validated as an artist, stuff like that. Because that's how like a lot of the internet works. But there's more to the world than just the internet. It's big now, but there's more to the world than just the internet. Especially if artists do like local shows, do local cons, or do that kind of stuff. It's a different world. And there's more to just going for the likes and comments, and I do agree with that. I think that's where like when you start a project, things are not just gonna blow up fast. Not for everybody. You may get lucky, but you can't think like
Mm-hmm.
that. You gotta
Yeah.
put in the work and see how it goes. Like I started this project, the Thinkof Artist Podcast, and I'm doing my thing. I'm letting it grow organically. I'm doing my best I could with that, with the marketing and all that, and I'm just going with it. And I love talking to artists. I'm passionate about that, just like I'm passionate with my art. It's because it's really cool hearing other people's stories and how they do it, and just showcase. A person who's worked in the movies and the TV industry, he's doing his thing, and there you go. Like he didn't give up or anything like that, and he's still doing his thing, even after COVID, because COVID hit a lot of artists, especially working in that industry hard. But it's like, is if you were just like, oh, I just quit, I'm done. I'm like, then it would have been a way different story where you are now. And look at you
Yeah.
now, like all the new projects working on, right, and the
I mean,
game and all that. So
it definitely. I mean, and to that point, it hit me hard. I had a full-time job in TV, visual effects. But then, when they're not shooting anything, then there's nothing to do visual effects on. So
right,
there was, usually they're shooting and we're catching up, and there's like already stuff in the can, and you've got a few months of work left to do. But once we burn through like a month's worth of stuff that had already been shot, once I start shooting something again, and then someone tests positive, so I have to shut the whole production down. So
yeah,
like, I went like a long stint, like I don't know, 7 months with no industry work, and but it's like in that time, like, well, what else can I do, right? Because it's like I'm not just gonna not do anything, because at least for me, I have to make stuff. So I did some of the stuff I sent you. I did a few posters for concerts. I did those gifts for Green Day, which was really cool.
yeah, that's
Um,
dope. That's dope.
and like, it gives you time. You're like, okay, well, now I'm not doing my day job, right? For like, from this is VFX, it's like 10, 12, 13-hour days. So now I have all this time back. What have I wanted to work on this whole time and I've had no time for? So, you know, and then real quick, I want to say, I think you're doing great with the podcast. I mean, I was just looking up artist interviews, right? Or NFT artist interviews, or artist interviews on YouTube, or podcasts, whatever. And then I found yours, and there was, over half a dozen
Hey,
episodes. And,
hey.
um, I'm just like, sweet. Like, it's cool just to like have artists just talking different mediums, different experience. And, I don't know, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you're doing this, and it's nice to just be able to connect, especially like in a time now where people are so disconnected. It's cool to just be like, hey,
Yeah,
man, I draw pictures too. Let's talk about drawing pictures.
yeah, because a lot of artists can't really like talk about it. Because I do interview people who are like Twitch streamers, and there's certain
Hmm.
things they cannot talk about on like, especially NFTs or certain drum s art stuff, like, or opinions about it, because it kind of like is not what they usually showcase on their stream. So they found it relieved. I just want to talk about all different kind of things, and now there's a platform to talk about all these type of things and projects I'm working on, and go in deep into it, instead of just, oh hey guys, I'm working on this. All right, let's get back to art. Like, you know what I mean.
Hmm.
This is a different kind of thing. And I noticed there's like there's not that many art podcasts out there. That's what I noticed. Like, how you noticed there's like no RPGs for the wrestling.
Hmm.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fill that void. I want to do this. I want to put myself out there, see how it goes. If it fails, it fails. But I'm just gonna go with it and just do my thing and have fun with it, and just have a great conversation with artists. Um, and like you just saw me, a person who's been in the industry. I would never would have talked to you if I never started this podcast. You know what I mean? Because it's very cool. It's very cool. Like it's bringing me to new worlds, pretty much. You know what I mean? With every artist,
Yeah.
bring me to different worlds, and I love about that. I love about that because I'm creating my own world, but I love to hear other people's worlds and how they started, and where they're going, like the next steps of what they want to do. Um, but yeah, that's I love talking about all this stuff. Wrestling, art, your credentials from the special effects, visual effects. But yeah, I mean, I think we got everything. Unless I'm missing something. Did I miss anything?
I don't know.
I'm trying to like think like right away. Oh, so I noticed that you like to get like you get into so different mediums. Do you believe that artists need to learn more than one medium?
Um, I think, I mean, need is a heavy word, and I'm not going to say that anybody needs to do anything, but I think that,
Okay.
but I think that in order to really grow,
Mm-hmm.
people have to do different things.
Okay.
If for no other reason than, just a better understanding of the thing you already do, right? Like, um, I've been in some capacity. I've been on set as like an actor, as a background actor, uh, running camera, directing, as a writer, as a producer. I've done post. I've worked on storyboards and pre-production. I've written. So um, wearing all those different hats, even if it's like on a student film or on an indie short or like, on like something you and your friends are doing for fun, or if it's like a real job and it's like high pressure, all those different experiences then make you understand more of the puzzle. If you come from, I mean, for me to go back to like the pixel art, it's like forcing me to rethink about how I know about everything, because it's like, I'm so used to working at 1920 by 1080 or like 4K huge resolution files, to then take everything I know, and you can blend and make everything beautiful at that huge resolution, but to drop it to 24 by 24 pixels, like, what pixel are you going to pick? Like, what color? What are you going to put it next to like play on the contrast? Because there's not enough room for an outline. So if you put like two high contrast colors together, how do they play when like, and then in motion with the animation? And then um, there's so many overlapping things that then when I even go back to regular animation, or if I go back to visual effects, like I've flexed my brain in a different way that I wouldn't have thought of before. Like I've met people on my journey that have been at one company for 20 years, and they have the way they do the thing, and that's the one way they do the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they have careers, and that's fine. But for me, I've worked at like really small places. I've done freelance work totally by myself. I've worked on huge teams, right, like with Avengers, and every
Yeah.
place, like, you have more resources or less resources, or um, different personality types, and every time you work in a different setting, you just get, I think you just get stronger. So, whether someone needs to or not, it's really more of like you just get more well versed. You don't have to do it, you know, all the time, but like, and one thing I've always wanted to do, um, well, that I've struggled with is like graffiti style art, like yours. My brain, I can't do it where it looks like authentic and the style looks good.
Oh.
Um, but like, like all the stuff you do with like just the colors you pick and the character design, you could take that and approach something totally differently than someone else who has a different background. And like,
Right.
I don't
Right.
know, I think just even like for me, like I've tried to do that. Like I spent the summer where I bought like $200 worth of like Krylon paint, and me and my friends went in the woods and like painted rocks and like worked on tags and like, I like markers on subways, the whole thing, and I sucked at it. So like I have an appreciation for what you do versus
Oh,
like someone who may never try and be like, well, that's just like baloney. So like, if nothing
right.
else, it's good to try stuff, because then you like gain empathy and understanding, and you know how long things take, and you can value things. So I'm a big fan of people just trying stuff, um, but trying stuff like they're passionate about. Because if you're not like, throwing your heart into it and really giving it a real try, it's just kind of like a waste of time. But yeah, I would encourage people to step out of their comfort zone and try different mediums and different deadlines, or if you do really like 3-hour figure drawings. Like try doing a 10-second gesture drawing. Try just drawing from memory. Try drawing from life. Try drawing from photo. Try like unless you try all those different things, you kind of get stuck in your lane. So and then you get stale and you die.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to like do new things and get out of your comfort zone too. So I do like that's how I try to do with my characters. Try some new stuff with them with the full bodies or like different poses now and everything. And now I'm getting into fonts. I suck at fonts. I suck lettering. That's like I love the graffiti, but I was always bad at doing the letters. I love the characters, but I was bad at the letters. You know what I mean? So that's something I'm learning now. I'm actually working on a T-shirt where it's like I'm doing the font for it because this time I'm not afraid of taking it anymore. Like this, like artists like you and another artist I interviewed before. It's kind of teaching me like sometimes you just gotta go for it and have just the confidence, just give it a try and learn from it and actually study instead of just like winging it. So that's actually a really great advice. Just keep doing things, keep experiencing different things, and you never know what kind of people you will meet, or what kind of industry you'll get into, or what projects you will get into, like the Avengers. uh, I'm sorry, I'm like a big comic book nerd. That's still like that's crazy still to me.
Yeah, man.
And so it's like you never know all these different kind of things. Maybe you end up working on a video game, work on a card game. Who knows? Like there's so many things out there now, and there's so many things that you could just learn by just getting out of your comfort zone. Like it may be not the thing that you're like getting to first place, but then you're like, oh, I like this. Like the special effects. You started like doing nutrition art and then special effects, and now you're doing NFTs, animation with the pixel art. So it's really great. It gives you a different kinds of adventures, I guess you could put it. Right?
Yep, big time.
So we pretty much got we went on an hour and a half. And so we got two things left. We got you know the one thing that's cool about school?
Tell me.
Pop quizzes.
Yeah, man.
It's a simple quiz, nothing too crazy. We're gonna do a little pop quiz. It's just letters A B C D. Just want to see like like is it like kind of traditional, but some little fun facts here and there. Just a little pop quiz for you. All right. I get the glasses and everything. There we go. So we're gonna start with the first question. Which of these is a paint made from pigments and plastic? A. Acetone. Sorry. Acetone. B. Tempera. C. Acrylic. D. Gesso.
I'm gonna go with acrylic. C.
You are correct.
Right.
I forgot to open one thing actually. Oh yeah, so you don't see. Because I actually wrote the answer just in case I forget for some reason. I'm the one giving the quiz, all right? So I could get the answers. I deserve the answers.
Okay.
But I remember all. Yeah, but yeah, it is acrylic. Let's go to the next one. What animal often symbolizes peace in art? A. Deer. B. Duck. C. Dove or dove. Sorry. D. Dog. I'm bilingual.
That'll be the dove, the white dove.
Well, there you go. You are correct. See, it's not that bad.
Not that bad.
Who painted The Starry Night? A. Vincent Van Gogh. B. George Seurat. C. Pierre Auguste Renoir. Or B. Or D. Paul Gauguin.
Let me Van Gogh.
Yep, that is correct. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were named after famous Renaissance artists. True or false?
True.
That is false. No, I'm just kidding. It is true. Oh. I always get people with that. Even though people know the answer, even when I say it's like not, people are like, what?
Yeah.
That's like the number one thing everybody knows.
Love it.
All right, here we go. How many paintings did Vincent Van Gogh sell during his lifetime? A. 1. B 5, C 10, or D 100? Oh,
Mm,
900. Sorry.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say one.
One?
One, or if it's one or five, probably. But I'll say
Which
one.
one? You are correct. I was gonna say you are correct. He only sold one penny in his lifetime. He became popular after his death. He has created over 900 though of art, and yeah, that's I guess people say artists die broke. Well, I mean back in the day.
Yeah, should have got into NFTs.
Imagine back in the day, Renaissance, like get into that. Actor James Franco once sold a sculpture made of A. Lego bricks, B. Air, C. Cigarette butts, or D. Lint.
Man. Um, I will say he sold it, or did he make it? Do we know if it's both? Did he just sell it? Because this could be a trick question where he didn't make it, but he sold some other thing.
Oh well, he's an artist, so I mean, like he did create it.
I will say cigarette butts.
Wrong. Air.
Damn, the opposite of cigarettes.
Yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
You just made something like, hey, this is air, buy it, kind of thing.
All right. Good. Congratulations. You did it.
Number 7 question. How long did it take Leonardo da Vinci to paint the Mona Lisa smile? A, 16 weeks, B, 16 days, C, 16 months, or D, 16 years?
I'm gonna say, I'm going to say days.
And I ruined it. You said A?
Days. B. Final answer.
Days. B, final answer. Wrong. Yeah. D, 16 years. He did it layer by layer by layer. That's how you get the illusion of the smile of the painting.
Yeah. I was just thinking damn, his model would have had to sit there for the whole time, but I guess he probably did that part from memory because
it was a smile.
Sitting for 16 years.
That'll be crazy, right? All right, here we go. Couple more. I believe 3 more questions. Any color plus white is A tint, B shade, C tone, or D value.
Man. Any color plus white. Well, what's tricky is especially working in the industry is people use terms like this interchangeably.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because they'll be like, "Oh, make it bigger," and they mean smaller. I guess I'm gonna say tint.
You are correct. It is tint. Not bad. All right. All right. No, the 9th question. What artist's work has been stolen more than any others? A. Leonardo da Vinci, B. Pablo Picasso, or C. Rembrandt?
I'm gonna say Da Vinci just based on how many times just the Mona Lisa alone has been, I guess, stolen. Oh shit.
Yeah, stolen. Yeah.
I'll say Rembrandt.
Wrong. Pablo Picasso.
Damn.
Pablo Picasso. There's one more question left, and it's a true or false question. Is it true?
Is it for all the points? Can I get my points back?
No. You gotta deal with what you're gonna get. All right, you gotta deal with it. All right. Is it true? Is it true or false? I can't show it because I still haven't made any question because I couldn't. Is it true? An artist sold Instagram photos.
Is that the whole question? What is it?
Is it true or false? Has an artist sold Instagram photos in a gallery? You want to get more?
I'm just gonna say yes. That sounds like something that's true.
It is true.
True.
It is true. And an artist that took people's photos, not his, posted a picture and he changed the comments in the bottom. Still kept all the names and everything, just changed the comments in the bottom and sold them for about $18,000.
Damn. How about that? I mean, that's a few steps above the air. So that's something.
Well, I mean, have you heard about the sculpture about imagination?
No.
So an artist. So this is the one I want to show people of the photographer who sell other Instagram photos as art in 2015. Yeah, he sold it for. Let me see real quick if I was right. No, actually, he sold almost all of them at $90,000 each. Never mind. He sold way more than that. And so there's an artist out. He's an Italian artist. He's one of those gallery type of artists. No offense to anybody's gallery artist. And so what he did is he sold an Imagine invisible sculpture, pretty much, as you could put it. So what he did is he kind of made it deep, where it's like, oh, this is what you use your imagination because this and that, the power of imagination and stuff like that. He put like tape, like a 5x5 square of tape, and he just put it out there, and he sold it for $18,000 of the invisible sculpture, and you get a certificate of authenticity with it.
Man, I mean, honestly, and especially, I mean, it would be. I'm sure it's easy for people to like jump on it and bag on it. Ideas, you know, it's like because someone would be like, I could think of that, right? But you didn't, and so like the idea of it, and then being able to execute it, you know, it's like I said, value, right? People are going to value that someone did that, and it forces them to think differently. And then we're talking about it. I mean, so you know, who knows? Kudos. Maybe they've got to figure it out over here, breaking their backs.
He is getting sued because somebody else did thought about it. 2016 of a mockumentary. A Florida guy is suing him because he saw the invisible sculpture, but he came up with the idea first in his documentary.
Damn.
There you go. It's crazy. Invisible sculpture will get you sued. You know what I mean? Like,
imagine that.
Like out of all the things you can get sued from, no, the invisible sculpture was like, no. I thought about it first. You give me money because you sold it way more than I did. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I mean, if he had it first in the documentary, that's good on him. That's like, I mean, the whole bonus of NFTs and the blockchain is like there's like transactions of who made the art when. So it's like the same thing as like, oh, I did that first in my documentary, and if you can prove it, crazy. Good for him.
All right. So we got through almost every single thing that we're gonna talk about in this podcast. This is a bonus one if you want to do it or not. Do you want to challenge yourself of an artist bad habit bingo?
Oh yeah.
You want to learn about your bad habits?
I do.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna learn about, especially. I guess you could say you're a veteran in the industry, kind of.
Well, right? I'll take that. Yeah.
I mean, it's 50+ years. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah. A long time. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I just want. So let's see how much you grew out of your bad habits. We're calling you out. We're gonna call you out. So let me get the photo right now, and then get this started. But yeah, so here it is right here. I'm gonna send it to you on Discord so you can see it on there. And then go from there. So let me make that a little bit smaller. Boom. Upload it. You got it. It's on there, I believe. Did you see it?
Yep.
All right. So we're gonna go from the free space first, as always. We always got to go free space. You cannot start bingo without doing the free space first, right? So, all right. The free space. Procrastinate.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, All right. Okay. Not looking good already.
I don't know if you can tell, but right here I've got a whiteboard,
Uh-huh.
um, and a lot of this is stuff that I still haven't done, but I should have. So even though I get stuff done, and I'm still getting it done in a timely enough manner to keep my job, procrastination haunts me daily.
Actually, I believe that I'm trying to discipline myself too. Like I could once I get like started on the project, I could work on it for hours. But starting it is where I kind of like take forever. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what it is. Like the starting on it. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get a bingo or not. I don't know if you want to get a bingo on this one though. But all right, here we go. Stupid or unclear file names.
Nope. No way.
No way. All right. Has a million ideas, none get realized.
Nope.
All right. Forgets own art style.
I've never settled into like one art style, so I'm gonna say no.
All right, so we're gonna move on from there. Does not experiment or step out of comfort zone. Just
I think we know that that's not true.
yeah. I feel like doing studies will interfere with my unique art style.
No, not exactly. Kind
Okay.
of. Only kind of because like I don't like doing tutorials and I don't like necessarily like going back and taking more classes.
Uh-huh.
But it's not quite that. So I think I survived.
Yeah, it's up to you. You want to cross it off or not? I
Yeah.
could I could reward it.
Yeah.
Do you like these
No.
tutorials?
No.
Craves attention,
sure-
but does sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What you gonna say?
I was gonna say I'm sure there's enough on here that's gonna get me killed. Go ahead.
Craves attention, but does not finish enough stuff or advertise their stuff effectively.
No.
Okay, okay. Keeps
Just like yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't the crave attention part isn't it's not why I do it.
We all want attention. I'm kidding. Keeps accidentally drawing on the wrong layer.
I have done this. Yes, we'll even this time still. Yeah.
All right. Hides body parts that aren't comfortable drawing, hands, feet, etc.
I've done this before. Not anymore.
So
I'm gonna say yes. No, we can award it because if there's part you're weak on, I think it's smart to hide your highlight your strengths in the piece. So
yeah,
give me the X.
So you want to cross it?
Yeah, you can cross it.
Okay. Forgets to save regularly.
Not my project files, but I don't back up nearly enough. I don't like back up my hard drives and stuff. So, what do you think?
It's up to you. This is your bingo card.
But I think I'm safe. Safe.
All right. Never finishes anything.
Safe.
Don't utilize all available art tools, custom brushes, keyboard shortcuts.
That is definitely true. That means that you can X me on that.
Oh, you want an X on that one, huh?
Yeah. I'm good at shortcuts, but as far as like using the software to its full potential, I do not.
All right. Lacks motivation often. Burns out. Too sad to draw.
No way. Motivate them.
Motivate. There you go. Only draws in specific angles, profile, 3/4, etc.
Nope.
Disorganized art folders.
Nope. Clean.
Oh man, I gotta do that. Mine disorganized. Avoids drawing backgrounds.
No.
No? Okay. Disregards personal health in favor of drawing, like breaks.
Yeah, we can hit that.
All right.
Just because sometimes you get so wrapped up in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll lose it.
Accidentally saves over the wrong version of file.
I think my story about deleting Smurfs counts.
That is true.
I've gotten better, but that's a big one.
Well, do you still do it now? Like personal projects or anything like that?
No. I mean, for the working in advertising, like my workflow is super clean.
All right, cool. So I think we can skip that one then. Hates asking for or accepting help and advice.
No.
All right.
I'm better at that now.
Lines too sketchy or sloppy.
Nope.
Perfection is too self-critical.
Yeah, we'll take that X.
All right. We're gonna get that X too. All right. Can't accept compliments. Too self.
Deprecating, yeah, we'll take that too.
All
I mean,
right.
I'm getting better at it, but it's something I struggle with, so I'll take it.
All right. Doesn't spend enough time planning or sketching.
I'm good with that.
All right. I don't think this is gonna count for you too either. Same face syndrome, which is a style that you draw the same kind of face and all that.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, forgets to actually post finished stuff.
I will say yes. You can X me on that because I don't share my work publicly often, really, just because I'm, you know,
Well,
I don't know.
it,
I mean,
this is,
but I guess I'm doing. I mean, I'm doing it with the 8-bit slammer stuff, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like my reel is outdated, my website's outdated, so like that stuff, I can be better at.
Well, this is a sad day for me because there's no bingo. This is good for you.
Damn,
I want to
that's
see a
good.
bingo. I want to see a bingo. You were close on the cross, with the stupid name, clear names, and hate asking for helps, all that. So you almost were there, and also the other cross, which forgets to save regularly. And I feel that doing studies will be interfere with my unique art style. So if you got those,
Close.
you were close on some of those, but other than that, it's pretty clean. I mean, we have some artists that they'll have like 2 rows, 3 rows, 1 row. So there you go.
I'm surprised. Not bad.
Yeah, there you go.
I guess
There you go.
that goes into my self-deprecating column. So
There you go. I mean, that's like you learn something from yourself. It's like, hey, you don't have a lot of bad habits.
yeah.
So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the end. So to finish it off, a summary of what you're working on, or what you're doing, and just to let people know.
So I'm Taylor Armstrong. You can follow me on Twitter at AnimTorrent, which is short for Animation Torrent, which was the name of the festival I started a few years ago. Follow my project 8-Bit Slammers that I'm doing, my first venture into the NFT space. I'm doing digital wrestling collectibles using real licensed wrestlers. That's all based around branching match narratives, where you get to put together your own match with these real wrestlers. Very excited about that. My day job is working on commercials that you probably see all over the internet and television, and I'm really grateful for it, and I love doing it. And I'm just going to keep making stuff forever. And I guess like any last parting words would be, I've been fortunate. I've been fortunate to get lots of opportunities that I've said yes to, that have opened doors to other opportunities that I said yes to, and all of that's possible because I've tried and I've given it my best and blah blah blah. But it's also possible because people have given me those opportunities, and I'm definitely a big fan of and willing to pay it forward. So if anyone sees this and has like a question, or I don't know, just wants to connect on art, or has a question about animation or VFX or wrestling or anything, or you can hit me up. And primarily, if you're like serious about it, and I've got no problem just talking to people about stuff, or helping them, or connecting people with people that I think will make sense, because I still, when I was an intern, my sophomore year animation school, I was working with a filmmaker who would bring me to, she was a member of the Academy, and brought me to Academy Award screenings, and introduced me as like a compositor, and helped me get more work. And I don't know, I'll never forget the people that have helped me along the way. So anything, people can reach out. Happy to pay it forward, and I don't know, just keep doing the thing you love doing, and stay focused on that, and none of the baloney. And there's enough out there for all of us. So You know.
All right. So that's pretty good. Any recent commercials? I want to say like did we probably saw or something like that.
Yeah. There's one that I keep getting in my feed, which is like cool, you know, but like you like spend time working on it on the computer, and then it's like popping up on my Hulu feed on the TV.
That's
The
crazy.
hell was it? Oh, there's one. I mean, I don't know if you'll get it or where you are in the world, but there was one we just did for the San Diego Zoo, for like the new safari parks they're opening back up. Um, we did one for Walgreens, with like John Legend saying like, "This is our shot. This is our shot for blah blah blah." Like, talking about vaccines. Um,
Oh,
there's like
okay.
Walgreens ones. We just did like the whole Budweiser summer campaign. So if you saw any Budweiser commercial this summer for the red, white, and blue beer cans, that was me. Um, Planet Fitness. If you've ever seen a Planet Fitness commercial, that was us.
Oh, cool.
It's just like
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's news feed is so customized. Like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Of what like they're looking at, and it's always they're spying on us. Just kidding.
yeah, I know.
That's all right. Cool. So that's pretty much the end. Any like what you thought about the podcast? How do you feel about it? Anything like that? Any last words of the
Just
pod?
it was fun. I mean, I appreciate you for doing it in the first place, and also for having me on the chat and doing it so late. Um, the games are fun. I love games. I think more games is great. Um,
Yeah, I'm working on more.
and yeah, I don't know, man. I'm digging what you do. You know, I binged and skimmed through a lot of the previous episodes, and kind of I like that you have the timestamps. So I was
Yeah.
able to I went through and I just like listened to what everyone said on NFTs because I was curious.
Mm-hmm.
So if the stuff you do like that is cool, and I like the branding of the frames and the the waiting soon. So I mean, I think you're doing it, man. I'm surprised you don't have higher numbers yet because I think you're doing a great job. So
I'm
hoping to.
alone. I'm working alone, so I gotta manage my own art stuff and manage the podcast. So it's always about like marketing and promoting it. So I'm doing the best I could, but I mean, thank for you for like being a guest. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was really fun. I would love. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I would love to hear about the game more. Just saying.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
Sure.
I would love to hear more about the game because I'm very, very curious, and I want to play. Even like, it still balls my head. Like RPG wrestling story, it makes sense. Why has nobody done it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why has nobody done something like that? So, yeah, I would love to hear about it more in the future. Maybe we could bring it back in the podcast and talk about it. Make a whole
Yeah.
episode about it. So it'd be awesome.
Yeah, man.
Again,
Well, I can. I'll send you the link to try out the build so far if you want to dive in and give it a shot.
am I allowed to stream it?
No, not
Right.
yet because it's
See,
still.
it's good to
I'm
ask. It's good to ask. It's good to ask because even though it's like again, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but we're here already, so I
Yeah,
don't.
no, just because like I'm using
Yeah,
all like
yeah,
place filler artwork and
like stock images and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
cool. Yeah, I will love to check it out for sure, and I'll probably give some of my feedback and all that, and
sweet,
if you want it, of
yeah,
course. But yeah, I'm just very curious about it. So it just balls my mind, and I can't wait for more new stuff. The project. We'll see what you decide to do with it, Kickstarter or fund it yourself, or kind of thing. So I'd love to hear what you do with it. But yeah,
yeah.
thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, 2 hours. 2 hours is
Cool.
good
We did
podcast.
it. Cool, man.
So thank you guys so much, man. Let me switch my scene real quick. Wrong scene right here. Thank you guys so much, and I can't wait to hear more about your projects, your NFTs, and all that good stuff, and more of your commercials. I actually brought some of your commercials. Probably gonna watch them like after we doing the stream or something like that. Because I'm very curious about them. And yeah, thank you again so much. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you, man. Have a good night.
Have a good night too. All right. So that was that. Very interesting. Very good conversation. Um, yeah, it still boggles my mind about the whole the RPG wrestling game. That sounds dope. Um, And all right. So what time is it? It is about to be 11 o'clock. We're gonna get started on some art. So I'm gonna come up with some concept drawing. As we don't know, next week we are doing a full-on charity stream. A charity week. Sorry, and we're gonna be in the front page on the Friday next week. So I got like I need water. Hold on, let me drink some water. Okay, I think I should be good. I hold my breath. Add some water. All right, here we go. So let me switch to art real quick. All right, guys. Take that out. Exit that out. Alright guys, so that's what we're doing tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed that podcast. We are not done streaming.